Good morning, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to come on here and kind of make up for the a little bit for the live stream I did yesterday. I mean, I was a bit tired, and of course, going into the evening, and you start kind of relaxing and everything. But again, I wanted to come on here as a makeup to once again talk about the 10th anniversary of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So hopefully, I can do a better job here than I did on the live stream. Although it seems like I did okay. I wasn't the only one that did a live stream yesterday talking about the 10th anniversary. But, let's see if I can make up for that. Hey guys, just wanted to come on here real quickly. Kind of a bonus before you see the rest of the video. And just let you know that in addition to what I'm going to say here in the video, I also had employees, fellow associates I used to work with at Walmart that were fans as well. And that kind of surprised me, but it was comforting to know that I wasn't alone in this. For example, there was one associate that was mainly a sports, worked in sporting goods, was like the department manager there for a while. And she liked My Little Pony, even though I didn't, ask her straight out if she was how long she'd been a fan or what she knew about the show. But she, on occasions, would wear a Brony T-shirt, the already established Rainbow Dash Brony T-shirt, with Rainbow Dash in the middle and the word Brony on the top. So it was nice to see that it was a fellow fan, another adult, I should say, that even though she was younger than I was a fan of the show. So I knew, hey, if I was to kind of talk to somebody about it, at least I wouldn't be ashamed about it or anything like that. At least I'd have somebody that I could that would understand what was coming from. And then, of course, I had another fellow associate who was older than me. We called her Coco, and she was a fan as well, to the point that, well, she didn't wear a T-shirt or anything, but what she would do is she would have a Pinkie Pie sticker on her badge. And when I noticed that, I was like, okay, she's a fan as well. That's pretty cool. And she's older than me. Well, a little older than me, but still, it's like, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, I just thought to let you know that before you watch the rest of the video, that the one thing I forgot to mention in there is what helped me really accept, becoming a fan was not just everything that I mentioned and those that I mentioned in the video, but also the fact that I had co-workers, co-associates that were fans as well. So that kind of eased me into kind of understanding and be accepting, understanding it better and kind of having it win me over in the long run. So just thought I'd throw that in there, throw this in here, guys, and enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll talk to y'all later. Yeah, like I said, 10 years ago when the show began, like a lot of fans that became very well-renowned fans here on YouTube and the internet, I wasn't too sure about it. I mean, it did take time to win me over completely, but it was like I still wasn't too sure about it. Like I mentioned in the live stream 8 years ago, I did a video where, I said I was not a brony, and you can find that video here on my channel. And the reason I did that video is because I wanted to come out and say, look, I respect what the show's doing. I respect, the fan base. It's, gaining, growing and all that, but it's just not for me. I think I even acknowledged that there were some characters I enjoyed. But over time, it started to win me over to the point that sometimes in my videos, while me and my mom were still living in Patterson, I would talk about it. I would talk about the characters, situations, and I even did a video where I asked myself, I asked myself and the people watching, am I becoming a brony? Because all of a sudden I started to gain more interest in this show, because I started to notice that there were people from my age range that grew up in the 80s and the 90s and even a bit of the 70s that were really getting into the show and getting into the characters. And I think one of the reasons they got into it was the diversity of different characters that you had. Not just, just regular ponies with the same designs, but they had their own unique look to them and their own unique personalities. And I think that's what really attracted a lot of people. And along with the stories and the music time, at times I should say, along with the story and the music, a lot of people started to get behind it. It's like there was something there that when Lauren Faust created this, she set out basically to make it a show where the entire family can enjoy it. But as I've mentioned before, I'm sure she had no idea that she was going to create a show that was going to garner the fan base that it did. And that's exactly what happened. But again, I think the main reason why people were so appealed to the show, so attracted to the show, was the diversity in the characters, was the fact that the characters weren't just the same designed characters. They had different personalities, they have different looks. They even established the fact that, the characters, from a species perspective, a pony race perspective, you know, back to the origins, had trouble getting along because one race thought they were superior to the other. And that's something you wouldn't see tackled that much in a kids show targeted towards younger kids, which this show was originally targeted at. But they did that, and it was really surprising. And they kept doing that. They kept touching upon that through the rest of the series, to the point that the finale, depended on that being touched upon and even recreated very briefly for the villains to kind of have an advantage. So, yeah, it's like when you look at all that, even back when it first began, you kind of see why adult fans got attracted to it. But like a lot of fans, like Silver Quill and Dr. Wolf and Lightning Bliss and Golden Fox and Keyframe and Thespio and many others, Fiora, Mad Munchkin, Dusty Cat, known as the manliest brony around. It took us time, to get one over. It took us like a season or two to get one over. And once we started to get one over, we started to go back and watch the reruns either through on demand or through Netflix. Because Netflix, I think at that time, or around that time frame, when it was starting to win a lot of people over, had acquired the streaming rights to stream previous seasons of Friendship is Magic. And I think on demand was just coming into its own at that time as well. So people started to be able to watch the episodes on Hub on Demand or Discovery Family on Demand whenever they wanted to kind of get up to speed as to what was going on with the show and with the characters. So again, I think all that combined is what really helped make this show the pop culture phenomenon that it became. And again, for me, it took time for me to be won over, because ironically, not even a year or two after I did that I'm Not a Brony deal, I started again, like I said, I started talking about the characters and in several videos, like what they were going through, and talking about this or that, and then when I did that one video asking myself and the viewers if I was becoming a brony, I think that's when it started to kind of click that, hey, this show's starting to win me over, because not only was I starting to get more invested in it, because I started seeing and hearing about people my age, from Silver Quill, AC Wastebest, and and many that I just mentioned, being won over themselves and enjoying the show themselves, and even taking time out of their lives to do YouTube reviews and analysis on the shows. When I started seeing that, it's like I started realizing, hey, there is something here. Maybe I should give it a chance. Because like I said, when I started seeing them being won over, that's when it started to, like I said, it started to really click that, hey, I'm being won over too, and maybe I should give it a chance. The other way I know I was being won over was, besides the first Rarity plush I got, which had the multicolored stringy hair, the purple and pink hair strings, in the on top of a head for hair. The other way I knew I was being won over was when I first bought these mini Funko figures of Luna and Celestia. That also should have confirmed to me I was being won over. That should have confirmed to me I was being won over as well. And another clue and hint that I was being won over is when I took one of the discs that I was using for my traditional or my yearly holiday movies and specials recordings, and I recorded Lunar Eclipse, which was their answer to a Halloween episode. So I was So I think it's just little tidbits here and there, moments here and there, purchases here and there, started to kind of clue me in personally that I was becoming a fan. I was becoming a brony. And it would take until about a year or two late, a year or two ago, for me to come out and admit that, which I did here on YouTube and various Facebook group pages. You know, I came out, sat at my desk right here, and said that I'm a brony. You know, I'm admitting right now that, you know, what I said I wasn't 8 years prior, which I think was like 6 years prior, has become the opposite. It won me over. And I think one of the other things that won, and I think not just from the perspective of noticing other people like my age that you wouldn't think would be into a show like this being won over, and like I said, taking the time to review it and give their analysis on characters and stuff like that. You know, to me, it wasn't just them that won me over. It was also the characters themselves, because the characters themselves won those very same people over as well into watching the show. And one character in particular, of course, the one of them that I just showed you, was Princess Luna. Luna was one of them. And I think the reason she won me over is because, like a lot of people have said, she's relatable. She takes, even though she's a princess like Celestia, who's an older sister, Luna takes on a more personal approach when it comes to those that need help. And also you can kind of tell she has that rebellious side. And what what person isn't attracted to the rebellious character in a show, whether they like that show entirely or they don't? What person is not attracted to that anti-rebellious character that, you know, wants to do something but they know they can't because maybe the sibling who's the authority in this case, like with Celestia, advises them, look, I understand what you want to do, but we got to let it play out this way. You know, you can't help but be attracted to that, especially when you start noticing that that character also has a bit of, you know, regret to, you know, to themselves because of what they did prior in the previous form, in the corrupted form, I should say, of Nightmare Moon. So you take all that and you put it into one character, that's going to attract a lot of people and consider that character to be one of the best characters, or as Silver Quill would put it, one of the best princesses in the series. But it wasn't just Luna that attracted me over either. It was actually another character. That character was Rarity. And yes, I understand she was designed to be like the eye candy of the show. But it wasn't just her being the eye candy. It was the fact that this little dude, Spike, had feelings for her. And feelings for her since the beginning. And I think the episode that really got my attention to that was, of course, Secret of My Excess. And the reason Secret of My Excess got my attention was just the same way Magic Mystery Cure and the ending that it had there really got a lot of people's attention. It was the fact that it was solidifying this kind of a sweet crush / romance special relationship, more than friendship relationship, that Spike and Rarity were having. And the reason it got people's attention is because even back then, more to a lesser extent now, but even back then, a lot of people were questioning, you know, are we promoting something that we shouldn't be promoting? Because Spike at that time, up until at least that episode, or even before that episode, was considered a baby dragon. But I think as they got into the second season, they started to kind of, you know, taper off from that and just look at him as a regular dragon. But people still looked at, you know, how, you know, Twilight would reference him like that, and even Fluttershy, when she first met him, would reference him. And it's like, you know, look, and to a lot of people, I should say, it was like, look, you know, they're not calling him that anymore. Even to the second season, they've tapered off. But again, the reason I think Secret of My Excess got my attention and it got a lot of people's attention was because of the fact that it looked like the show was kind of officially confirming what would become known as the Sparity ship as an item, as a real thing. And even Voice of Reason back then, when he did his overview of season two, even said, Sparity, Spike and Rarity Sparity is canon. So it made you kind of think, made you wonder, are they actually trying to tease us with a possible romance here? Even though, excuse me, even though in the eyes of some it didn't seem like it should happen because of certain reasons. But again, that was one of the other things that attracted me. It wasn't just Luna and Rarity, but also the Spike and Rarity relationship, because put yourself in Spike's shoes. Rarity's like the girl next door to him, and like any guy, we want to impress that girl next door. We want to do anything we can to hang out with that girl next door and maybe potentially, make them ours. And vice versa with the women or with the girls. They have the guy next door. They're willing to do whatever they can to spend time with that guy and eventually make him theirs. And you kind of related to that when it came to Spike and Rarity's relationship in the show, and I could relate with that when it came to um, the friendship, the very close, special friendship, more than friendship, romantic crush, whatever you want to call it, situation in the show. And over time, like I said, it just started to attract me more, to the point that when I finally became a fan, I think I became a fan more so because we started to see characters that were, kind of rebellious, wanted to do their own thing, but but also was willing to do the right thing as well. A good character, for example, that I look at is Starlight, and Trixie even to an extent, but Starlight mostly. Starlight, of course, started out as a villain, but when she started to build upon her redemption, that's when she started to win people over, because they're like, yeah, this is a character, that, because a lot of people, of course, were unsure about her at first, but then over time, it's like, yeah, I like this character because, she's trying to do good, she's trying to make up for what she did, but she still has the tendencies to falter a little bit and kind of go to the extreme, pushing the envelope. I mean, she even said it herself in the season 7 finale. She's she's always wanted to push the envelope and all that when it comes to certain things. And I think that's what a lot of people liked about her, was the fact that she was the kind that would push the envelope, would take it to that next level, but would also have tendencies to fall back onto what she was before. So you could relate with her, and I think that's what attracted a lot of people to her. And the same with Sunset Shimmer in the Equestria Girls spinoff. A lot of people, speaking of Equestria Girls, nobody was really sure about that in the 10-year history of the franchise, because they felt that Hasbro had sold out. But I think when Rainbow Rocks came around, which was utilized as Sunset's full redemption, that's when it kind of, I think in a sense, my opinion, Rainbow Rocks kind of helped set set the record straight that, yeah, Equestria Girls may seem like Hasbro is selling out and trying to get a part out of that Monster High, Ever After High pie, but it's its own thing. And oh, by the way, eventually you're going to find out that it's still in the same continuity and somewhat timeline as Friendship is Magic. Because we see that later on doing certain specials um, like Forgotten Friendship and Spring Breakdown. We start seeing that, and even Magic Mystery movie or whatever. We start seeing that. So we start kind of getting the idea that that both shows are in the same continuity and somewhat the same timeline, except one takes place in our world, or the equivalent of our world, while the other takes place in this fantasy world. And I think that's what really helped, set the bar, as the fact that Equestria Girls is Friendship is Magic, but on a high school level kind of deal. But overall, like I said, over time the show just won me over, and to the point that, like I said, with just the merchandise that I just showed you that I purchased throughout the years and everything, that basically I just adjust something there. But, you know, like I said, it, you know, just started to win me over. And, you know, like I said, the merchandise that I ended up getting throughout the years isn't evident that what started out as just a few purchases snowballed into something more. I don't know what does. I mean, I'll give you another prime example of what I'm talking about. This right here, this Power Ponies set, and you can even see it in the mirror there. The Power Ponies set, it right there, was the first. It was the first major purchase I had got when it came to this, because one of the other episodes that got people talking, and it kind of has a mixed reaction even to this day, is the Power Ponies episode from season, I think, was it 5 or 4? And basically, the reason it got a mixed reaction is because a lot of people felt like they would jump in the shark here. It didn't make any sense. It didn't have nothing to really do with the show in context, on continuity, except for season 5, when in the dream realm, to kind of help Princess Luna, you have Applejack and Rainbow Dash kind of, through the magic of dreams, kind of transform into the pony, power pony personas. But anyway, still, a lot of people felt this didn't really have any context or anything. You know, it was like, didn't need to be there. But others felt it was cool. Others actually liked it because they started to learn more about it. I think over time, the Power Ponies episode has gained a bit of a cult following because, in appreciation, because people started to learn more that, oh, it was a nod, it was a homage to comic books of the past, to people like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and all that. And we didn't know that, you know, and Steve Ditko and all that. Basically, superhero comics of the past and even the present, and we didn't know that. I'm sure, however, those behind the episode kind of knew what they were getting themselves into, because it wouldn't be long after, even up to this day, that you would have people here on YouTube and other places creating Power Ranger inspired intros for the Power Ponies. I mean, heck, one group, one guy, or one Brony band, as they call themselves, actually reworded the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers lyrics and called it Mighty Morphin Power Ponies instead. So you get a Power Rangers intro, and everything just like you would with the original, but instead of them singing Go Go Power Rangers, they're singing Go Go Power Ponies. But then afterwards, all the rest of the intros that I would see, courtesy, I think, of Blaze Winter, you know, were pretty much under the, well, basically utilizing, I should say, the same musical intro from the regular Power Rangers show, from Zeo to Lost Galaxy to Lightspeed Rescue to Wild Force, you name it. They were still using it. He was still using it for the intros. So yeah, Power Ponies, you know, got a, you know, even though it got a mixed reaction at first, some liking it, some not. I think over time it's gained kind of a cult following, if you will. And it was actually one of the episodes that was shown as a work in progress at a San Diego Comic-Con that the previous year, to kind of show people what was in store for that upcoming season. And again, just like with Magic Mystery Cure, I think it got some attention through the press, like Entertainment Tonight, and, you know, talked about it briefly, I think, to close out the newscast, other newscasts, you know, like CBS, NBC, and all that would talk about it. So yeah, it did get some coverage, which was pretty cool. Overall, you know, when I look, but overall though, like I said, it was, the Power Ponies thing was my first big purchase. And then of course what you saw in the mirror there as well, the Wonderbolts and the Magic of Every Pony, those followed later on. And then of course, behind me is a good example. I mean, if you would have told me 10 years ago, or even 8 years ago when I did that I'm Not a Brony video, that this was going to be the end result, all of me having a complete face turn 180, if you will, I wouldn't have believed you. But yet, here we are. You know, I mean, heck, I even got this. I even ended up getting that, to the point that, are you ready for this? On a day I was off from work, I took an Uber. I think it was an Uber. Or was it a bus? Was it a bus or an Uber? I can't remember. I think it may have been I think it was a bus, then it was an Uber. I took the bus to my job because we still had this Cantalot set on sale. We actually reduced it in price, and it was a Walmart exclusive because it came with an extra figure. I think it was Twilight, and I decided I was going to get it, and I did. But also decided to get some other items as well, other MLP items, and because I think we had a bonus that week, so I decided I was going to splurge a little bit. So, long story short, I ended up getting it, and as soon as I got it home, after I put everything away, I started to, and kind of got myself something to eat and everything. I started to assemble it, and basically what you see, is the end result. But I think what really kind of solidified the fact that I turned that corner and made a 180, became a Brony, was when I took the bus to go see that on opening day. I mean, I know a lot of people saw it the night before on opening night, but I saw it on opening day. Took the bus early in the morning, went to Turlock, saw it, went home, had a great time, watching the movie. Had fun. Kind of treated myself to a day out. Wish I could do that now, but unfortunately can't. But yeah, like I said, I had a great time. Had some fun, had a fun time and everything. And that, to me, when I made that trip, solidified that I was a Brony. It solidified it because I was willing to take time out to. I basically I had planned out this day for weeks when I heard the movie was coming and what day it was. I was gonna request that day off, and I was gonna go. I was gonna use it to go see a movie, and that's what I did. So I think that right there solidified me as being a Brony, a fan, being won over by the series. And again, I know that there's a lot of fans my age that even got won over towards the later part of the show, towards the end of it, that would, if they had Netflix, would go back and binge all the episodes from all the seasons to see exactly, what it was about, who the characters were, get a better understanding of them, as well as be caught up, continuity-wise, on some of what was being talked about and everything. So, yeah, fans were still being won over even up towards the end. But really, it's like I can't say any more than what I have about this show, about this franchise and the impact it's had. I mean, the fact that I did reaction videos, if you will, to Best Gift Ever as well as to the finale, that's really saying something. That's really saying something. But overall, I can't really say any more than what others have said. Like I said, it took me a while to be won over, and eventually I was. And I can't say any more than that. I really can't. I mean, again, you take a look over here, I got these books and stuff. It's like, what more can you say? But yeah, it won me over, and I am not going to forget that. I'm always going to be appreciative of that because, it's hard for any kind of show of any kind to win somebody over, and when it does, that's really meaning something. When someone that basically says, "Hey, I respect what they're doing, but I'm not going to get won over," eventually gets won over. That says something. That's saying that what you've done with this show, has even broke the hardest of shells, if you will. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So again, I'm never going to forget it. I'm never going to forget this show. I'm glad it's still going strong. I mean, heck, the show pretty much. I mean, heck, the show pretty much is still going strong through comic book form, thanks to season 10 being put into comic book form. So yeah, the show, continuity-wise, is still going strong even through the comics. So overall, I'm never going to forget the impact it's had on me. I know others won't forget the impact it's had on them. And I don't think I can say any more than that. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully this made up a bit of the rambling live stream I did yesterday. I know I sound like I rambled a bit here. It is early morning, trying to do as best I can until before my mom wakes up. Um, you know how that is when you live with people and you try to provide content or do videos. But anyway, again, I really appreciate what the show has done for me, has done for a lot of the fans. I mean, the impact it's made. I mean, the fact that you had conventions from BronyCon to BabsCon pop up, Everfree Northeast, and all that. It really says something. I mean, when you have not one but two documentaries, one of them focusing, I think, what was it, on Ashley Ball, Andrea Lindgren, going to a convention and being surprised by the adult fans that she was encountering. I think it was BronyCon, one of the first BronyCons. That's saying something. It really is saying something. So, anyway, though, guys, that's all I can really say. And in conclusion, want to thank the once again, thank the voice actresses and actors, the creative staff, as well as thank the fellow Bronies and Pegasisters out there that help get people like me into the series, help us get won over, if you will, with this, when it came to certain characters and moments in the series. So, I mean, you know, speaking of moments, just to put this out there, they actually, when they did Slice of Life, which was focusing on the background ponies and was a thank you to how creatively unique and weird the fans can be, they threw in the Big Lebowski reference. They threw ponies in there that were basically, you know, ponified versions of the Big Lebowski characters. So, yeah, it's moments like that convince a lot of fans, including me, to kind of give it a chance. And can't be more thankful than that. So again, once again, thank the creative staff and the voice actresses and actors that help bring this all to life, and also want to thank the fellow Bronies and Pegasisters out there for helping get fans like me, as I mentioned earlier, into the show, get us won over, and not only with their reviews, but their analysis and discussions and all that on what the show is about and who the characters are. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. And in conclusion, I want to wish the Friendship is Magic My Little Pony a happy 10th anniversary. It's still going strong with the continuity of the cartoon and the comics. And here's to maybe 10 more, even if it's in comic form, to the animated series known as Friendship is Magic. So thank you all for watching. God bless, guys. Take care. I am out. Stay safe.